Okay, now books for August for Science. This is Charles Darwin's biography. What's it called? Something about the Beagle. Something about the Beagle. Voyage of the Beagle. Didn't have this, so I thought I'd have it. It's a Harvard Classics, and it's old because it's got a picture in here next to a piece of like wax paper. You may have seen that in old books. It's actually a picture of a lizard here. Maybe it's an iguana or something. I thought that was kind of neat, and it's got a piece of wax paper that covers it. Maybe I'll give the year just because it's old. If I can find it. 1937, and originally printed 1909. So that's pretty old. I wonder if this was printed in, oh, it's in the U.S. I'm going to say, no way was this printed in England in 1937. It was printed in the U.S., so that's great. Darwin. Here is brand new. I got it for, I think, maybe $5 or something. The House of Wisdom. How Arabic Science Saved Ancient Knowledge and Gave Us the Renaissance by Jim Al-Khalili or something like that. You may know that the Arabs in the Dark Ages kind of helped us along and kind of kept the engine running. This is 2011. Very nice, actually. Nice copy. Kept the engine running in terms of mathematics. The Arab world was actually, at one point, was very scientific and loved. The Muslim religion is supposed to be very, almost in the same strength of the Jewish religion in terms of they respect knowledge and learnedness. And so anyways, that era of time, so this would have been after the fall of Rome. Apparently the Arab world kind of kept things going and with science and mathematics, astronomy, of course, and philosophy, and allowed the Renaissance, I guess, picked up. The Renaissance picked up after it. So I'm kind of interested in how that went and what can we attribute to the Arabs? What did they discover in that period that the crazy Christian Europeans that were too busy burning witches and just talking about nonsense in the sky for so long that they forgot about this world, right? Here's a Einstein biography. Thought it might be worth looking at. Life and Times, not an autobiography, just a biography. I'm kind of curious about that, Einstein. Remember a game called Command and Conquer where you actually rescue Einstein because of the nuclear weapon, but I don't know how closely connected Einstein was with the Manhattan Project. So I'm going to find out more about that because I thought that was an American project, but then yet he was German, so I don't know. I'll be curious to find out more. Okay, now the rest of these are mostly history of science. So here's Clagett, Greek History and Antiquity. These are all, well, almost all of them are just kind of library bound. Greek Science and Antiquity by Marshall Clagett, 1955. So this will be more on what the Greeks discovered in their own times. There's some odd stuff that Aristotle, well, I wouldn't say discovered. It's hard because sometimes in the I guess before the Renaissance, and even even after that, before the modern era, science was called natural philosophy. And sometimes its discoveries, in quotation marks, were actually just speculation and deduction from already believed premises. So you get some really weird stuff. Like at one point, just been reading some stuff about Kepler and Galileo and Copernicus. At one time, it was believed because of Euclid, the geometry guy, that the number of heavenly bodies must be equal to 7 and could not be more than that. And because 7 is a special number and that's God's number or something crazy like that. So when Galileo discovered that oops, Jupiter has 3 moons, and that's going to screw up the whole number of 7, because of course they knew about the first 6 planets and then the moon. That's 7, right? They went crazy. They couldn't believe that. So Galileo was house arrested and all that because he was defying the deduction that there must be 7 a priori. So if you go out and find that there's more than 7 by looking in a telescope, you must be wrong. Like, that's the whole... Anyways, with Francis Bacon, somewhat, but mostly with Galileo, we finally entered the empirical tradition, which was an advance, although we can't be fully empirical. It was a partial advance from the prejudices of rationalism, that what we do is we invent the world that we want to see, and then we go and make sure that when we look around, the world actually follows those premises or those prejudices. Luckily, we kind of got out of that, and so we say, no, we maybe should look at the world too and make sure that it agrees. Here's a History of Science by Dampier. Some of these books I actually was recommended, got them off of Mr. Cropper's channel. And if you're really a crazy book person, you probably want to watch his stuff because he's got more stuff than I do. This is a 4th edition, revised and enlarged. Just goes all the way up to 19th century. So that's great. I could even read more stuff on astronomy in there. Kepler and Galileo. Heliocentric, putting the sun at the center of another prejudice that the Christian medievalists had, was that the earth must be at the center and doesn't move. And so that created all kinds of craziness to try to figure out the orbits of the planets. And once they got rid of that assumption and said, oh no, how about a heliocentric? I mean, the sun is at the center, then everything kind of fell into place. But oh no, that's heresy, and we're going to burn you at the stake and all this other crap, right? Here is The Major Achievements of Science, Volume 1 by McKenzie. Another nice actually goes into quantum theory here. So this will be even more. Hey, there's Madame Curie, is chemistry. This will be even closer to this era. That's Volume 1. And then Volume 2 is this one. And I thought it kept going. But Volume 2, this is just like a library bound. Volume 2 is actually a selected. It's a little bit different. Rather than Volume 2 being a continuation of Volume 1, Volume 2 actually, rather than just talking about the authors, Volume 2 actually is constructed by way of selections from their actual writings. So rather than just talking about Copernicus, it actually has excerpts from Copernicus's books, and etc. Galileo and Aristotle and Robert Boyle for chemistry and all that kind of stuff. So anyways, so that's it for science.